morning everyone, welcome back to the channel and welcome to this crazy new angle. I discovered that I could put my tripod on my desk, which is pretty amazing, especially when I'm filming an outfits video, which I'm hoping to do this week. Basically sort of a weekly vlog, but mixing it up with some late fall, early winter outfits, and then also the books I'm reading, obviously. Today I'm going to see my friend before he goes off to the military. We're going to do like a little rooftop brunch and just like say goodbye to his place and stuff, which is so sad, but hopefully we'll have a good time, a little bittersweet party. Sorry, my battery died, but yeah, like I mentioned, it's sort of like the last fall day with good weather where you can just throw on like kind of like a thicker jacket and be fine. I think I'm gonna have to get my coats out next week, and so I really want to sort of milk this last opportunity to wear my favorite leather jacket. This is it. I found it vintage in Montreal about a year ago. I think it was around $90 to $100, which is expensive, but for a leather jacket, it's pretty good, and I would say it's one of like my favorite pieces in my closet. It's really unique. It has these really cool frills and stuff. I think I've shown it in a decent amount of like styling videos and stuff before. Otherwise, the outfit is pretty classic. I have my brown t-shirt that I thrifted in Austin, a white tank top underneath it, and then I have these dark cuffed jeans. These are from 8 Seconds here in Korea, but any sort of dark wash jean I think would look really nice with this outfit. And then I have what has kind of become my signature, like too lazy to wash my hair look, which are these braids and then a cap. I really love this one. Also got it in Montreal. For shoes, I think I'm going to wear these that I thrifted a couple weeks ago. They are Doc Martens. So nice quality, just like so beautiful. And I found them at a store called Twin Uncles Vintage that actually one of our friends owns. And he has such good taste. And yeah, I'm so happy to have found them. I paid $30 for them, which is incredible for a pair of Doc Martens. So yeah, I'm gonna throw those on. My bag is my trusty tote bag. This one is from a bookstore in Paris called Yves Lambert. And yeah, it's such good quality. I think it's basically the only tote bag I carry somewhat heavy stuff in. And last but not least, because it is also a book video, of course, I am reading Wuthering Heights by Emily Bronte. I'll get more into this later, and I'm going to try and finish the book actually today. So I'll hopefully give you my thoughts and just like why I read it and everything in the next clip. But I need to run. Let's go and enjoy this little Sunday.
Yeah. Like when I was working at... Is that your... I was thinking about like, just go to Uniqlo.
I look for a verse that I can't seem to find.
It's not camera in the prop.
When I go read it, just leaves my mind.
Do you eat it like this?
Yeah.
Waking with a note. How could a poem hold the way I see your soul?
I have just gotten all set up for bed. Obviously a lot of time has passed since I last talked to you, but it was actually the best day. It was so fun. Just got to debrief everything over some really good coffee and dessert as well at a place called Always August. I definitely recommend. It was so good. And then I came home, edited my video for today, which has just gone up, which is always a little bit chaotic, but I think that's what I prefer. I like to edit as closely to the time that I film as possible. I went on a nice walk, but when I got home, I had so much random stuff to clean up, like just so many clothes, so much stuff from the weekend. And I've just made a cup of tea and set up my mosquito net. I know I said I was going to talk about Wuthering Heights, but ironically I didn't actually get to read any of the book today. So I think I'm going to read a tiny bit before bed, but we'll probably finish it tomorrow after my class, and I'll tell you guys about it then. So far it has been very good. I have had probably the busiest weekend in recent memory. after quite a busy week as well. So I think after class tomorrow, I'm gonna come home and spend the whole day cleaning and just like doing laundry. So many life admin things I have completely forgotten about. But it's okay. I think I'm trying to remember that even a year ago, I felt kind of like, oh my god, I don't have, you know, that much stuff to do on the weekends, like not many social plans because I didn't know as many people then. And I feel really lucky to say I am a busy gal. And I just am so grateful for everyone. Obviously, I won't see Tongmin as often because he is leaving, but just to have sort of a small community to sustain and like keep up and make sure I'm connected with is really, really lovely and something I really wanted. So I feel super grateful, but also super tired, which can, you know, two things can be true at once. Hopefully we'll come back to you tomorrow a bit more rejuvenated to talk about Wuthering Heights. I'll also tell you guys about the next book I'm going to read for this week, which is Cursed Bunny by Bora Chung. And yeah, we'll get to all that tomorrow, but for tonight, good night. By the way, I just wanted to mention, I don't know if anyone's curious, but when I talk about comfort shows, you probably see me watching Screwballs, which is like a 예능 Korean variety show on Netflix. I also watch a lot of GBBO, Great British Bake Off. But one of you guys recommended Taskmaster, and then a friend from grad school also recommended it as well. I'm so glad I checked it out because it's been my newest obsession. I really love it. It's kind of like a British variety show, actually. They're assigned like crazy tasks, these comedians, and it's just such goofy, like silly fun, but also like really entertaining because you get to know the people and you're kind of rooting for them. And yeah, it's such a good like nighttime show because it's so feel good and like just chill and you can turn it off whenever. Just a great show. I'm sure a lot of you guys have heard of it, but they're on YouTube and the episodes are free, which is also amazing. And I wanted to say my friend recommended that I start with season 19. I think they're on 20 now, but she said to watch this one first because it's like the best cast and kind of like one of the best seasons. And there's also the one and only American who's been on the show in the season, Jason Mantzoukas, and he is great. So anyways, my small TV rec here. And yeah, I think I'm gonna get to watching now. Good morning. I'm about to head off to school. Have had slightly hectic morning, but this is the outfit for today. I'm kind of trying something new. I've never worn this shirt layered and it feels really simple. And I can't tell if it's like too simple or if it's actually kind of nice. I'm wearing some of my favorite jeans. These are the wide fit jeans from Uniqlo and they are incredible. I think I've had these for like 2 to 3 years and they've lasted so well. And they're sort of like my go-to everyday, very comfy jean. Also have heat tech under them because it's supposed to be around the 30s and 40s today, which is crazy. Then the top is just a vintage Champion, like simple sort of t-shirt layered on top of a white long sleeve. And then I recently got this scarf from Zara Men's, actually. It's 100% wool, which you would never find in Zara Women's, honestly. And it's kind of a Sophie scarf. It's like a triangle. I'm fully aware my hair is not helping with this outfit. My plan is to clip it back like this, which I think will be really cute, but it's currently drying, and so I think I'm just going to walk out and let it dry and then put it up in class. Finishing touch is this McGregor bomber jacket. I got this in a vintage store last year for like $30, and it has been my most loved jacket. It's wool on the outside, and it also is like this really cool checker print, and then I just love the slightly baggy fit of it. It's so comfy and incredibly warm and breathable, and yeah, I'm just so happy. I love it so much. As for a bag, I'm going to take my trusty purple tote. This is from Etienne Aigné, I think, but it's vintage from Etienne Aigné. And then for shoes, I'll put a picture on the screen, but I'm going to wear my classic Doc Marten sort of mules. And they have faux fur inside them, so they are pretty warm. Let's go. I've made it home and I just finished Wuthering Heights. It's a small book, but it took me a while. I think it took me like 2 weeks or slightly more than that. And by the way, this copy, I got it from my Yonsei University library. And I don't know if you can see, but it's from the era when these paperbacks were 50 cents. Which is just absolutely crazy. And this little library card here, and the last time it was checked out was December 30th of 1987, which is so wild. I'm sure people have read it since, but I think they just stopped using the library card system or something. But anyways, it says it was printed in 1959. It's an old copy and I had the best time reading it. The pages are so soft, and it's just like this very fun classic paperback, which I kind of love these because I feel like they're the true proof that people used to just like carry these in their bag or like in their coat when going around life, and I don't know, that makes me very happy. To talk about the book, I'm sure a lot of you guys have heard of it before, but just to sort of refresh, this is a gothic love story novel that was written, I believe, in the 1840s by Emily Bronte, one of the iconic Bronte sisters, and it features the love story between the characters Catherine and Heathcliff, who grow up together and are really madly obsessed with each other, but ultimately don't end up marrying each other, and they marry other people, and there's sort of like this twisted love story that lives on through their respective children. It's truly a whirlwind set in the British countryside in like a very stormy kind of eerie town, and also talks about social class, the fight for land ownership, because Heathcliff is just sort of like an orphan that the family takes in. He's also described as being darker than everyone, so maybe there's a bit of racism that's being explored as well. But yeah, it's tackling a lot of different topics, but all under the umbrella of this like very intense love story. And in classic sort of like gothic, maybe Victorian, is that right, novel fashion, it's like a story within a story. So we have a narrator who talks to like this maid, this housekeeper, who tells him this whole like crazy drama. And I really do enjoy classics with that story within a story because it preserves the orality, like the oral quality of storytelling so well, and I think it makes it all the more interesting. Even though it's been a while since I've read sort of like classic older literature, and so it did definitely take me a little bit longer to read, I really enjoyed it. I forgot how like just alive these characters are. I think there's a reason that Catherine and then also especially Heathcliff are such like known words in sort of like the literary sphere, known names, because their characters are just so incredibly iconic. And Heathcliff is like sort of the original like tortured boy, like the I can fix him trope, and it's just really cool to see. It's funny because what put this back on my radar is the movie that's coming out next year, and I saw that the trailer just came out and people are not happy because it's being marketed as like this incredible love story, and everyone is like, did we read the same book? Like, this is not a love story, it's a revenge story of obsession and of wanting to possess and like kind of being destroyed by love, and it seems like the movie's a lot more like melodramatic, and so I don't think people are very happy. And I agree with everyone that to market this as a love story is definitely a bit of a stretch, or you're missing a lot of what's happening. Something that I think I noticed this time when I was reading it is now I feel like we're a lot more familiar with kind of like dark romance or like darker love stories, like, you know, there's the classic like Twilight, for example, and people are very into these stories as well. And I don't know what it was like at this time, to be fair. I'm not like a British literature scholar or anything, but I feel like judging by the other classics I've read from a similar-ish time period, like Jane Austen, even Charlotte Bronte, that sort of depict love, marriage, relationships, and are also going into like social class, gender, all of those things. What I really appreciated about Wuthering Heights this time is that it shows really how oppressive those like societal constraints can be, and almost how like maddening they can be. Like, they can make people really go to like crazy lengths to try and retain their dignity or try and be with someone that they love even if they can't. Like, I feel like Jane Austen's books or Jane Eyre by Charlotte Bronte, they're very sharp novels, and there's a lot of societal commentary about how sort of like vacuous this like class system is. But I feel like none of those books actually tackled the psychological impact that being shunned from a community or sort of being a minority in a community can have, in the same way that Wuthering Heights has. Like, Heathcliff is a very twisted, like objectively kind of horrible character, but we see why he became that way from his childhood and how he was treated. And then you see him sort of flailing and caring a lot about his land and like his societal status and stuff, because that's what kept him away from the person that he loved and all this stuff. And I feel like just that depiction, I appreciated it a lot more as an adult, because I think when I was a teenager I didn't really catch any of that. But just the fact that in that era Emily Bronte was aware of how dark these societal constraints can be and sort of the consequences of those things can be on people's lives and also their minds as well. And I guess Jane Eyre kind of tackles it with like the woman in the attic, but with Wuthering Heights, Emily Bronte is making us really confront this with Heathcliff sort of being like the main character, the main life of the book. And I wonder if that's also why it feels really contemporary to me. Like, obviously there were things that were really, really old and like the language is a little bit difficult to get through at times and stuff, but the themes and the way it's showing how people try to take control and have agency in situations where you couldn't be with someone that you love because of social status and just because of what you look like or where you were born or whatever, like that is enough to drive someone mad. And I feel like it's just so cool to see a book that actually tackles that, and the Bronte sisters really do continually blow me away, and I loved this read. I think I'll probably get a nice copy for myself at some point and revisit this book again and again. But yeah, if you're looking for one classic to read this sort of like cozy, slightly spooky, cold season, read Wuthering Heights. Watch the movie if you want to, I guess, and kind of compare it and probably be really disappointed, but yeah, I'd absolutely recommend this book. It's so fun. And like I mentioned last night, the next book I'm going to read is Cursed Bunny by Bora Chung. I actually went to an event here in Seoul for her launch of her newest book, Midnight Timetable, also translated by the great Anton Her. It was moderated by Carrie from Carrie Can Read. I saw Nathan there. I also saw Faye, who's a bookstagrammer who lives in Seoul there, and it was a really great community event. I also met Charlie, who is a subscriber, and it was so cool. It was my first sort of meeting with one of you guys in the wild, so it was so great. Thank you so much for saying hi. And so very exciting. I got to get this copy signed by Bora, and Bora's just an incredibly funny, like just sharp person, and I loved hearing her talk, and I'm super excited to read this. It's a collection of speculative short stories kind of between magical realism, a little bit of horror, and sci-fi as well. And yeah, I've heard great things, and this is my Between Us book club pick for the month of November. And actually, if some of you are interested but haven't gotten the chance to join the book club yet, please do for December, because we're going to vote on the books for the next year, and then we'll also have a meeting for just talking about our favorite books of the year, sort of like a casual chat, sharing book recs, things like that, which I think will be so fun, and I'm really excited for that. So yeah, we'll be talking about this in November, that in December, and yeah, I'm excited to get reading this for the rest of the week. Otherwise, I was in such a rush this morning and I felt kind of bad that I didn't get to show you guys my nice scarf. So this is actually what it looks like, and I kind of like to roll it up and tie it. I've also seen a lot of people wear them with a full triangle, kind of like this. I would not wear this with this outfit, but I think it'd look really cute with like a coat. And the last way I've been wearing it is with like a coat. I'll tie it once around and then just like this, which this keeps you so incredibly warm, like your entire neck is covered. But I love this like little bow effect. And yeah, I've just been really loving this little scarf. Since this is also sort of a fashion / wardrobe video, I'm going to do my classic wardrobe refresh / switch around that I do for every sort of new season. We are officially entering late fall, early winter now, and the weather is pretty cold. So I think I need to move stuff off my rack, put some more stuff in storage, and just generally organize my clothes, maybe declutter a couple as well. Y'all know the drill. I feel like you've seen me do this a couple of times, so I won't film too much of it, but I'm excited because even without buying new clothes, I feel like just even reorganizing makes you feel like you have a new wardrobe, and I really need to be better about dressing myself for this weather. If I'm not careful, I will look like a complete potato every day, which is totally fine, but sometimes I don't want to look like that, and just to make that a bit easier for myself. So yeah, I'm gonna go do that now. Hello, So I'm trying to sort this rack into clothes that I can wear under jackets and coats, and then the jackets and coats themselves. And this is a common problem for me because I wear a lot of oversized shirts, kind of like baggy shirts and sweaters. And so I found that in the fall and winter, I really struggle with like layering under coats and jackets. And this is all we've got. This is not much, y'all. My summer wardrobe, I think, is like twice this size. So I'm really not trying to buy that many clothes right now, but I am definitely going to be on the lookout for like long sleeves, just like really thin things that I can wear under my jackets, because yeah, it's kind of been hard. I find that I get pretty bored with what I'm wearing under like my jackets in the winter. That being said, gotta maximize what I do have. Very grateful for these little long sleeve nice tops. So yeah, gonna keep going. Good afternoon, everyone. I've just had a pretty chill morning, just getting ready, doing a little bit of work, and then had lunch, and I'm about to go out to a cafe and do some more work for the rest of the day, but I want to talk to you guys really quickly about Cursed Bunny and sort of what I think so far. So I'm 4 stories in, and I think there are 9 stories total, and so far I'm really enjoying it. Like, it's honestly flying by. There's something I feel with short story collections, which is that like they're not very popular in especially like American English language publishing. I think a lot of publishers don't really like them, from my experience trying to pitch Korean translations of short story collections, but for me, actually, I think they're so nice, and I feel like they're so well suited to our like current sort of lifestyle. I've basically been reading one in the morning, one in the evening, and it goes by so quickly, and you kind of get absorbed in a little world, and then you're like, wow, I finished something, and it's very like satisfying. I don't know, I really enjoy short story collections. Anyways, I'm really enjoying them. I always understood the book as being like almost like literary horror, and I do think that the story sometimes can be a little gruesome or like almost just like horrific and like what's happening, kind of eerie at times too, but it's not really like a horror collection. Like, what I really love about it is that it almost feels like folktale-y, you know, like the sort of like grim folk tales and things like that, where it's like that slight bit of darkness that exists in like all of human life, but told in a way with a little bit more fantasy and like hyperbole. Like, that's kind of what it feels like. Like, there aren't really like characters that are named and you get to know really well and like you understand their psyches. It's more like a lot of people encountering very strange existences or creatures or like situations, but the writing is done in such a way where like I literally have no idea where the story is going every time I start a new one, which I feel like is so fun. They feel like nothing I've read before, and I think she's just such a strong writer. The style, like I mentioned, is a little bit more folktale, but she's tackling things like gender and aging and greed and violence and like all sorts of like things that exist in our world, but through these sort of imaginations of how people would deal with like very crazy and sometimes spooky situations. I really love the first one called The Head, which, to give you guys a taste, is about a head that keeps appearing from the toilet and won't go away every time a character uses the bathroom, which then it turns kind of like interesting and sinister and a commentary on you know, ourselves and like what our like sort of offspring and products are. It's just such a fresh way to look at it, and I feel like there's so much to talk about here as well. I'm really excited to discuss it for book club. Anyways, I'm going to keep it short because I want to like read the whole thing and give you guys my full thoughts, but that's where I'm at so far. Otherwise, for the outfit today, I'm going to be so quick because I need to run. But I've layered one of my favorite vintage finds of late, which is like this red blouse that I really love on top of a black long sleeve, and then I'm also wearing some black baggy jeans and this suede jacket. And yeah, I think I'm going to head out now. I have a lot of schoolwork and translation stuff to get done, so let's go. Okay, I just discovered that a mosquito bit my face just now, so I think I'm gonna have to hurry this up and set up my mosquito net. But yeah, I just got back from the best little Saturday evening. We went out for ramen and then went to like a local bar that I haven't been to before, and it was so cozy, and just like got some cocktails, beer, and chatted, and it was a lovely time. I feel like as the weather gets colder, I'm just like really craving the cozy energy, like nice cafes in the evening, bars and like restaurants with like brothy warm food. It just feels so wintry and nice. At the time of filming this, it's still before Thanksgiving. We have about a couple days left, I think, and so I'm not allowed to get into the Christmas mood, but I feel it creeping up on me. Festivity is coming, and the city of Seoul is like fully in its Christmas vibes right now. There are trees everywhere and like lights everywhere. I can't believe we're almost at the end of the year. Kind of terrifying, but also I'm excited. It's like one of my favorite times of the year, as it is for a lot of people. I get to see my family and sort of like do a bit more fun stuff, like indulge and like care a bit less, which is so nice. Okay, I think I'm going to hit the hay now. It's been a long day, honestly. Otherwise, I think the next time I come back will be to tell you about Curse Bunny. So yeah, see you soon and good night. Hi everyone, it's actually the next Sunday now. I'm filming this and then editing this and uploading it right away, so you might be watching it on the same day, but because enough time has passed and we're almost in December, post-Thanksgiving, I've gotten out my Christmas mug. So exciting. It feels so warm and festive. But before we end this video, I just wanted to talk to you guys about Curse Bunny really quick. I finished this a couple of days ago, and like I mentioned in that first clip, it flew by. I enjoyed it so much, and each of the stories are very different. They all tackle different topics. They're completely different settings, completely different like atmospheres and vibes and characters as well. And in some of them, they're a little bit more folktale-y, like I mentioned, and other ones feel a lot closer to like our contemporary world and are more focused on relationships. And yeah, they also vary in length, and some of them I thought were like super almost like fantasy-esque. They had this almost like magical or mystical quality to them. I do think that I enjoyed the ones that were set closer to our present day, or that like seemed to be almost like a slightly like magical realism or like slight speculative twist to our modern world. Like I felt like I enjoyed those stories the most, but I also could see how some people might enjoy the folktale-y ones the most. I just think there's something in here for everyone, and it really is not scary in the way that we think a literary horror collection is going to be. Something I was thinking throughout reading this book is kind of what is the feeling of reading these stories, and in some ways like the point of reading them, like what do we get from it at the end, not in like sort of like a, I need to get something from it way, but more just like it, you know, was the first time reading something like this, and it was a very satisfying feeling, like almost comforting. And I think that's why I was thinking about it a lot more, was like why do I feel weirdly more comforted reading these stories than, you know, I expected. I thought I would be scared or like kind of freaked out or just, you know, sad about the world or whatever. And I realized that her stories do something really beautiful, which is they kind of illuminate the dark parts of our world, and I feel like the dark parts of ourselves, and sort of, you know, the more difficult things that everyone has to deal with, whether that be like shown through a creature or some sort of like supernatural occurrence, or actually just shown through a character going through something. But I realized that what Bora Chung does really well is she doesn't judge these characters. She also doesn't try to prove why they should be like pitied or even like vindicated or almost like sympathized with. She just kind of puts, you know, pain and difficulty and sadness and yeah, these like darker parts of our world exactly as they are through these sort of like speculative stories. And so it's like kind of heightening reality, but then also just accepting it. Like there's no sort of message, there's no happy ending really. And I realized through reading this that there's something very comforting about that. The fact that she doesn't try to justify why these emotions have to exist or why these things exist in our world. And she also doesn't try to explain it, but she just presents them in very new, different ways that get you thinking and sort of feeling. And I think that's sort of like the most unexpected thing I've gotten out of this book. I think it's, you know, solidly entered one of my favorite books of the year, at least definitely one of my favorite short story collections of the year. It was just such an interesting read, such a kind of, it was both such an interesting and fun, but also like very thought-provoking and kind of emotional read at times. And I feel like in some ways this is like the best a short story collection has to offer, which is to show a lot of different slices of life or imagined situations that collectively make you feel in some way that, you know, life is okay, and it's okay to exist within all these strange and unexplainable sort of emotions and darkness and whatever. And yeah, at least that was my sort of interpretation of it, or what I got out from it. Please let me know what you thought about it in the comments, because I'm guessing a lot of you guys have read it already. And yeah, with that, I think I'm gonna wrap up this long, chatty little vlog. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you next week for another video. Bye!